waters rose, there wasn't a lot to look forward to. So people began looking back. But memories can consume you. People don't just vanish.
I'm begging you, don't go down this path.
The truth ain't gonna set you free.
Maybe memory fades for a reason.
Where is she?
Reminiscence in cinemas August 20.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Now we got drinks? Oh, they free.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Just like some bad movie.
What? Oh,
Oh, that's what we specialize in. Bad movies.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of which,
Oh boy.
welcome to Moviesucktastic.
I feel like I've seen this movie already.
We're we review movies, mostly bad ones, occasionally good ones. I am Scott. The other one there is Joey.
Hi.
Together we are Moviesucktastic.
Oh yeah, baby.
And we've been doing a lot of 70s episodes for the past
2
year
years.
or so.
2 years.
70s films, excuse me.
2 years.
2 years. Stuck in the 70s, except for our Oscar shows.
Thank God.
And so I thought it'd be a nice break before we swing into Halloween, because we'll be doing a whole month of horror films and trying to do more written reviews up there and working on that.
So we made a decision of the new film or newer film that we're going to review next week, or are we just going to hold that close to the vest and just do it next week?
I think what we can decide at this episode. We're not going to go back to our challenge system, because that's not going to be kind of useful until we get out of October.
Okay.
So I think for the next 6 episodes or so, it's going to be more or less we take turns of who gets to decide. It's going to be less of a challenge and more of just like, okay, this is what we're going to watch next.
Got it.
It may sound like technically there's no difference whatsoever, except we're calling it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
And it's less, but that's all. But so yeah, I just out of 3 recent films that I want to see, I chose this one. In hindsight, I probably should have gone with a horror film just so we could have got a jump on that. But
do we want to? So maybe we should do that new James Wan film, *Malignant*.
Well, let's discuss that. At
you
the
know
end
what I'm
of the
saying?
Episode. I agree.
Let's talk about that later.
Let's talk about that later. But right now we're reviewing Reminiscence. Now, when did Reminiscence come out, Joey?
Theatrically, it said it was due to come out August 20th, which I believe it actually did.
Right, and then it bombed. It made like $2 million.
Did not do well. Yes, right. Like $2 million. I'll look it up real quick, but I think I looked it up last week when we talked about it.
We looked it up last week. It was $2 million on the nose.
Yeah.
Domestic, and and I didn't like the looks of the trailer, so I thought I'd give it a shot, and try to keep an open mind. So before we dive in, snapshot impression. We lean in towards yay or nay with you on this one.
I'm gonna go nay, but
as you should.
It has its moments. There are moments where it's like this scene is done well, or this scene, okay, I understand. You know who I really, really liked in this movie, and I just wished he had a larger part, It was what is his name? Cliff Curtis, which was the henchman. That guy, the one.
He's good.
I really like him. I've always liked him. He did a movie called Sunshine back in 2007, where they're out. The sun is about to go out or has gone out, and their mission is to like basically jumpstart the sun so that life on Earth doesn't end.
Very, very underrated. Not often mentioned, I don't think, sci-fi horror film.
And I want to say that movie was directed by Danny Boyle, which is the guy that did Train Spotting.
Right.
Let me look that up real quick because I have it in front of me. 2007, called Sunshine. Here it is. Danny Boyle? Is that who directed it?
Speaking of Danny Boyle.
Directed by Danny Boyle.
Speaking of Danny Boyle, we were watching some YouTube video and it had a clip of the scene from Train Spotting where Ewan McGregor climbs into the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And so now she'll never watch it.
Oh, Jesus.
She's never seen it. I was like, we'll add that to the list of things. She's like, no, now I'm never going to watch that. So, all right, great. One down.
You should convince her anyway.
Some people have lines, and I'm not pushing them over those lines.
Yeah, but that's a line she should definitely cross.
I don't broadcast the lines I cross. So actually, I do. That's the problem. But so let's take a broad look.
I mean, it's a nay, but it's closer than you would expect to a hey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a nay, but it's like it's so close to a hey. But I can't do it.
Well, let's see where those little gems come up. The title of the film is Reminiscence.
Yes.
Which is a play on memory and everything.
Right.
But it's not a play on memory. It's actually a direct reference because the whole film is about, not only is the whole film about finding memories, but the name of the process they use, they call reminiscence.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. And they said that they initially used it as an interrogation tool and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they gave it a brief history, which you kind of need to do. Now, you mentioned that you've seen this film before, and I think I know what film you've seen before.
Of course you do. We all went to the movies to go see it back in 1995. It was called Strange Days.
Strange Days. And we're going to be making several comparisons to that film, and I want to make one comparison right away. The first thing I noticed comparing the two is that the better film didn't have voiceover.
Oh, I didn't take a lot of notes for this, but one of the things that I wrote down was narration almost never works.
Never.
Almost always a bad idea.
It's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah, and
especially when it's like poetry nonsense.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, so I did a little history on this. The director, Lisa Joy, she wrote and directed the movie. She's married to Jonathan Nolan, who is the brother of Christopher Nolan. So
now it makes more sense why this film got made.
And Jonathan Nolan is the creator of the new HBO Warner Brothers TV show Westworld, right? That's why there's like 3 people in this movie directly from the TV show Westworld.
Yeah, she wrote some episodes, I believe, and
yes.
I think she's like a co-creator even.
She's a co-creator of the show. She's married to Jonathan Nolan. Obviously, is already in bed with Warner Brothers. Got made during the pandemic. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know what? Here's X amount of money to make this movie. The script isn't horrible, but go ahead and make it. Jonathan Nolan is attached. I'm sure that helped. I'm wondering if this movie was worse and there was some creative input that made it better in some way.
The fact that the person who wrote and directed this also wrote and was responsible for direction of Westworld explains a lot.
Well, the TV... have you seen the TV show Westworld?
I bailed halfway through the second season.
Okay. I haven't actually seen the second season yet.
It's a lot of it's one of those shows that it's supposed to be deep, but it's really about the visuals.
Okay.
It's not as the storyline. It's all bullshit. It's not about that at all. It's all about the visuals. It's always about the actors and the sets. That's what's important. If you try to read any real meaning into it, you're gonna break your knees diving into that pool. Very shallow. And because this film is the exact same thing. I mean, the whole idea is that the basic plot is that Hugh Jackman is they're all veterans of a war that they don't really discuss in detail, just enough to show that there's been a World War III
they
over
did
borders.
Multiple tours. It was bad. It
was over borders, but we don't get much else about that.
No.
And so everybody's a veteran of this, and Hugh Jackman went into reminiscing as a career, and the whole basic plot is that he meets a woman, falls in love with her in an instant, and then after 3 months is ready to die for her.
Yes.
All right, that's my first problem with the film. Well, let's dial it back.
What? You're not a romantic? You don't believe in love at first sight?
It's the 3 months later she disappears. So no, I'm going to go on a killing spree, or I'm going to commit suicide, or I'm going to endanger my life to try to find out where she is. No. The I can't live without you after 3 months. Yeah, there's some other issues going on here.
Oh, he became a junkie of, he was getting high in his own supply.
And it's just an example of having to speed
Reminiscence.
Things up. Even though the film uses structure of the editing to shorten a lot of time, they still have to shorten the time in the movie, so they can't have them married for years or anything. But
right.
So it loses a lot of the impact. It's like, dude, this hasn't even been a year. This was like a fling. What the fuck are you? You never getting laid before?
And they're in Florida, right? That's where this movie takes place, I believe.
Yeah, it's trying. I don't know if you say trying. It is a kind of Miami noir.
It absolutely. Well, what's interesting? The trailer that they have for this, it's a little misleading with like the high tension music, and
I didn't fall for it.
It's like a Matrixy kind of music action kind of thing, and then when you watch it, you're right. It is absolutely noir-esque, big time.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
The water.
The water's everywhere.
All right, so this is a Miami noir dystopian future where the ocean levels have risen. So Miami, of course, is still thriving, except now they've built up houses they're on foundations, they're on stilts and shit. So I don't know.
Right.
For something that supposedly was so haphazardly done, it seems to have done very well for that many people to still be there.
Right.
And then the rich people have built their own little island where they're even safe from any kind of water, so everybody's jealous of them because of that.
This is hold on. I'm sorry. This is actually my father.
Okay.
I have to take this.
Mute your side.
Hey,
mute your side.
how are you? How do you feel?
Joey's getting a call from his father. He just had surgery, and he's just calling to check in.
Well, that's good. I heard they brought you food.
Now, typically, I would say, Joey, mute your mic, so that way you couldn't hear this conversation with his father, but I haven't been able to get that through to him. It sounds like he might have walked away from the desk. So now we're good. And so, I mean, my big problem with the whole water thing is that there's the whole film, everything's flooded. You've got they show a lot of CGI, huge backdrops over the city, and then you've got houses, and there's actually it's like Venice. They got boats being towed through, and everybody has rowboats and power boats. But with all the people there never seems to be an overcrowding of boats. Just imagine if you didn't have parking garages and stuff for a city like that, and now making everybody boats, so you can't even pack them up high. How come there aren't 5,000 boats just clogging everything? No, everywhere you go is like, oh, there's 2 or 3 boats there. Really, there's 50 people inside. How did that happen? But let's just go to the general idea that the entire subplot or background of the ocean levels rising and buildings being half submerged and people on boats and there's no future and everybody's looking back to memories, which You don't need that to sell a machine that reads your mind. Let's be fucking honest. It has no bearing at all whatsoever on the main story of the film. It has nothing to do with anything. If you remove all the water stuff from this film and you just put it in Miami, same movie. Exact same movie. No need to have it there. You would change a couple of lines of dialogue. That's roughly it. Maybe people you'd hear a couple less conversations about the levees breaking. That's it. Everybody can still be veterans. Everybody's happy. There's the only reason for it is an extravagant special effects budget that fails in multiple scenes.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Now I need a rest.
Sorry.
Sorry. I can't go. Hold on.
I'm gonna need a few of those tonight.
I was talking nonstop while you're on the phone with your father.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh, okay. Do you hear me? I'm like, I would normally tell Joey to get up.
Yeah, normally. I didn't hear like exactly what you said, but
yeah, I know.
I couldn't find. I was like, I know there's a mute button. I don't have time for this shit.
I'm not going through the whole thing again, but just to summarize,
okay.
the whole backdrop and or sub story, whatever, about the ocean levels rising and people in Venice with boats but there's not like 5,000 boats everywhere. Somehow they're getting along with like 10 rowboats,
dinghies,
whatever.
I stole a dinghy.
All of that, the whole thing about like the people being mad at the rich people because they're drier and the ocean levels are going to keep rising.
Sure, they refer to them as the barons.
None of that has anything at all whatsoever to do with the main storyline.
No, none of it.
Not even with the only real connection is they say like Hugh Jackman sells in his opening monologue or narration that without a future to look towards because the seas are rising, everybody retreated to the past. And all I'm going to say is having a dystopian future with no hope on the horizon, you don't need that kind of selling power for people to get into a machine that can record your brain.
Right.
Everybody's in on that no matter what. You don't have to. That's going to be popular. She goes in to kind of know where her keys are.
Well,
is that how common this shit is?
Apparently, it is.
If it was, then why would they have to send for him especially to work with the fucking DA?
Well, I mean, there was a whole reason why she went in for the keys. That is a plot. A part of that is revealed later. Plus, I mean, it's not totally true about the barons and all that having an effect on the storyline and the plot. It does play a small part in it.
No. If you take away all of that and just say they're rich people who are fucking up with poor people, same story. Has nothing to do with the water.
Oh, the water.
Water.
The water
nothing
is
to do with
nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be riots coming soon. So, by the way, what other film does that sound like? Yeah, just like Strange Days. I mean, to be fair, at least they didn't reboot it and call it Strange Days. At least they tried to make it their own.
Stranger Days. Yeah,
but I mean,
it's also interesting that Strange Days was directed by, I believe, written and directed by Deborah Bigelow, who used to be Deborah Bigelow. She used to be married to James Cameron.
Another female director ripping off another one. It's horrible. I hate it.
I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up.
There's a great example too. Like Strange. Now, first of all, and let me just in Strange Days, it's a device you put on your head.
I'm sorry, Catherine Bigelow.
In Strange Days, it's a device you put on your head.
It's similar. It's a squib of some kind.
No. In the Strange Days, it's a device you put on your head.
Yeah.
And it only recorded. It could only record what was happening right now. It didn't go back and look at the memories. So the only difference in this film.
Well, no. When you put it on your if you wore it.
If you were recording.
And you were recording, yes.
Right. I'm saying it couldn't go back and find memories.
No.
Live.
Yes. That is the difference between this movie and that movie, but it's still similar enough.
The other difference is in Stranger Days they had a thing you put on your head. In Reminiscence they have a thing you put on your head while you're in a bath.
in water. With the water.
Yeah, let's stretch that metaphor. Yeah.
It's like, it's like being birthed. It's like, birth is really what they're metaphoring there.
As far as showing the memories like in a 3D image,
right?
I did like the setup they had with the strings.
Oh,
I thought that was
the fiber optic wire or whatever it was.
That seemed that I thought worked. The whole scene in the third act where he walks up to her in the whole thing and how they held off to the last minute for that. I like that. Also, the strings have it kind of like a jellyfish wave to them when they're not being used, when he pushes them aside.
Yeah.
Probably
well, again,
intentional.
like I said earlier, it has moments that are done well. It does have moments.
Really, moments. Just
moments.
Moments. And honestly, the first thing I thought when the title came up, Reminiscence, and it was the first thing I thought was
glittery and
my first thought, if you want to make a BioShock movie, just make a BioShock movie. Why do we have to go through the gumshoe in a future? And, if there's a cross genre that is so easy to do poorly and has been done repeatedly over and over, it's the gumshoe sci-fi adventure.
Listen, see, I was in a smoky bar and she had to walk into my bar. I don't understand, but
her tentacles. Yeah,
but let me tell you, I couldn't take my eyes off her. But
gumshoe horror, dead on. Gumshoe sci-fi, almost always a disaster.
Almost always.
I'm saying almost always. I can't think of them in the mind, but I know there's a few good ones.
Well, like Blade Runner, the original theatrical cut of Blade Runner had narration. The director's cut got rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's a better movie without it.
Because if you need to explain the film to the audience, you haven't done your job as a filmmaker.
Yeah. I mean, I have the ultimate cut,
and
multi-disc of Blade Runner, and I have both of them, the director's cut and the theatrical, on Plex. And sometimes I watch the theatrical because it is slightly different, even though I hate the narration.
And let's just lay down the fact that you don't need a narrator to understand this film.
No.
We aren't dealing with very complex ideas.
Especially because of the fact that the narration isn't giving you any important information. It really isn't. I mean, everything that he's saying...
It's even worse. He's explaining his motives and the overall theme of the film. He's explaining the ending to you at the beginning of the film.
Right. So, so whatever he's talking in narration or as the narrator, you don't walk away from what he just said saying, oh, shit, really? Like, oh, man, this is how that... No, it really doesn't do any of that. I have a feeling that it was added in, maybe after some test screenings, and to just kind of pace the film better. Think about watching the same exact film without narration in it at all. It's probably worse.
Where'd she gone? Why wasn't she here? Did she lie to me?
It was all a setup.
How many montages do I have to go through with them explaining shit to me? Oh, I get it now. You think she betrayed you. Let's lay this on a bit heavier. I'm sure this won't change in the third act at all. No, let's keep going with
here's the thing, too. Hugh Jackman probably did this because he worked with Christopher Nolan in The Prestige, and that film's a goddamn masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, nothing negative to say about The Prestige.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah, if anything, just go watch that movie. Don't even listen to this podcast. Just go watch The Prestige.
Also, as a sci-fi gumshoe film,
right?
Every time, see, I have trouble pronouncing her name with the W in it.
The lead actress,
Thandui. Was it Thandui?
I think it's just Thandie.
Thandie is just the W silent.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Thandie Newton, right?
Like Hugh Jackman and Thandie Newton. There's no way that you're not getting heavy like Firefly vibes off of those two characters, especially when she rescues him at the one scene, and it's like I'm watching an episode of Firefly.
Yeah.
One of your more enjoyable scenes is enjoyable because it's reminding me of something I love.
It's true.
And now I'm back here.
Yeah.
the minute they put Hugh Jackman's head in a fish tank, who the fuck has a fish tank when you're living on the ocean? I get it. Yeah, there's eels and stuff too.
More water.
In the floor.
My tank. And he says it kind of just like that. My tank.
Yeah. Is there manufacturing going on in this weird future where everybody's living on houseboats? How the fuck does this work? Waterworld made more sense. At least we're just like, yeah, land's gone.
Yeah.
That's it. We're on boats. Not this weird. Oh yeah, everything flooded, but man, this neighborhood still looks nice, clean cuts here. Like, how did those are concrete foundations there? What, you had them that high before the floods? That's weird. No, it's a bunch of fucking things. But what was I saying?
Sandy Newton. Firefly.
No.
When she came in to save him.
Oh, the fish tank. The minute they put Hugh Jackman's head in that fish tank, I'm like, and we get to see the bullet travel through the fish tank.
Well, they show that in one of the trailers.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Because when I'm watching the movie, and there are the eels swimming around his face and everything, and I'm like, wait, isn't there a bullet at some point? And then when she comes storming in, I'm like, yeah, there's a bullet coming.
I honestly watched the trailer once and was like, this is gonna suck. And then I never watched it again, so I barely remember the trailer.
I only saw the trailer once
the diving
myself.
Sequences which look fake. I mean, we know they're CGI. They look CGI.
Well, here's the thing too.
Why go through all this trouble? You just want the floating metaphor. Have them work at SeaWorld. Jesus Christ.
When the movie opens up, and it has that horribly bad green screen behind
That's
him.
Not the film.
No, I know, but the very first one is particularly bad. It's really bad. Where he's walking and the background is happening and it's completely green screen, and I'm like, ooh, this is not going to go well.
I'm not saying that this film is as bad as A Sound of Thunder.
I was just thinking that myself.
I'm not saying
I almost finished your sentence, and I was going to say A Sound of Thunder. No, this movie is a masterpiece compared to A Sound of Thunder.
But that like Hugh Jackman walking in a CGI background and picking up that CGI Queen of Hearts,
right?
Like all of that was just like, yeah, it's like A Sound of Thunder had a really good budget.
Here's the thing with A Sound of Thunder, it did, if I remember correctly, didn't A Sound of Thunder cost $100 million?
Did you say I just dug up my review of that film?
I did.
When
I clicked on it, nothing opened up. I think I have to make an account again.
Oh, I realized I didn't have some of the older reviews I'd written on our newer format, because I used to do reviews on like a cheesy blog I had. And they moved around.
So real quick, what Scott is talking about, I used to write a bad review blog called This Movie Sucks, and I think I had 4 or 5 movie reviews on there before Scott and I decided to collaborate and do. I think we did Superman Returns. We did A Sound of Thunder.
I'm still trying to find. I think I did find my Superman Return once. That's what.
If you don't have it, I think I have it.
I just reposted it on.
Fine.
We're using letterboxd.com now.
Okay, good. So
we'll be having links for that and everything. But this has happened like this week. But I think letterboxd.com is a good place. One of the good places to have our written reviews for people to be able to access and well as communicate with us, because there's a lot of people clamoring to do that. But I was looking through. I was like, oh, I found it's like Sound of Thunder. Oh, I remember that. And I looked through. I was like, man, I wrote 8 pages on this film.
Yeah.
I must have been pissed.
But that was we collaborated on that back and forth.
I only wrote 5 pages on Superman.
But I had a blog. It was short-lived because Scott and I started doing this not that long after. It was called This Movie Sucks. And for a short time...
I was doing booth reviews.
Booth reviews, right.
Yeah,
and for a short time, we were considering calling the podcast This Movie Sucks, but we thought it was a little too wordy.
Yeah.
I bet it would have been fine.
Moviesucktastic was much easier to spell.
Well...
I do remember at one point I was reviewing films I hadn't seen.
Oh, you were
But
just
not in a satire way. I would watch the trailer and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to tell you this is what the film is. I can tell you
Well-
right now the entire film and how bad it is. And I was right every time.
Well, here's the thing, and that's why I came up with the bit that we still have never done, that which I would still love to entertain, called 2.5 minutes, where we watch the trailer, we decide after watching the trailer if we think the movie is going to be good or not, kind of rate it, give it a score or whatever. We figure out some sort of format. Then at some point watch it and go back to the 2.5 minute bit.
More. Not only that, we have to predict what's going to happen in the film based on the trailer. Tell the story. I can tell you what's going to happen in that film based on the trailer. That's it. Movie's done.
And what we can do is we can both do that before we do the episode, and we can each go one at a time and see how close we are with our predictions, if we predict the same things, if we can predict completely opposite things, and then see who's more right or whatever comes from that. All right, I'm looking up A Sound of Thunder. I could swear the budget for this was $100 million.
What was the budget for Reminiscence?
Well, hold on, son.
You know, the film we're reviewing.
Yes. Sound of Thunder budget was $80 million. How the fuck? $80 million in 2005.
They dumped it all into that scene with the two schmoes in a fake city street walking in place.
Yeah, right?
That's the whole budget went.
It's insane how poorly managed the budget for that film was, because I can only imagine how much actually got thrown into the actual movie.
How much is Reminiscence?
Okay, Reminiscence. $54 million. Yep. And it said it needed to generate $110 million to break even. So I guess it's $54 million before print and advertising.
No, that's usually included in the budget. Isn't that included?
Well,
in
this
the budget?
other once this source says $54 million. This one says $54 to $68 million. It made $18.5 million. It's a total loss.
Hey, but they pulled it off with a budget smaller than A Sound of Thunder.
Yes, they did.
Hey.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, it really doesn't matter.
How much of that went to Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter how much money Reminiscence makes, because it came out in 2021, which is the year that HBO, or Warner Brothers, who owns HBO, decided to release everything streaming on HBO Max and theatrically at the same time.
It doesn't matter that it didn't make money?
Well, what I'm getting at is HBO, Warner Brothers, was completely willing to take losses this year because they're trying to build the HBO Max brand.
Not like that. Not $2 million opening weekend with a $60 million budget.
Well,
that's
listen.
not acceptable.
Listen.
No,
they're releasing their biggest films this year streaming. I mean, you can go to the movies and see it. But most people, given the option, are going to stay home and watch it for the cost of their subscription.
Okay. That's a rational argument for a film that had a lackluster opening. $2 million opening.
Yeah, but this isn't one of their big movies. It's not like them releasing, Godzilla
$60 million.
Yeah, but Godzilla vs. Kong cost $200 million, and they released it streaming. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this is like considered one of the little movies. The Suicide Squad cost $200 or $150 million,
and they were
straight to
successful.
streaming.
I'm saying, it's failure. There is a price for failure. Nobody in Hollywood or any of the people involved, the money people involved in this, are going to shrug off. Oh yeah, we just took a $60 million hit on that film. No.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is, as far as hits taken, it's small in comparison.
No.
Yes,
No.
it is. It's small in comparison to what Godzilla vs. Kong should have made. It's small in comparison to what the Suicide Squad should have made.
You're sounding like one of those suits.
To what Dune should be making, but is coming out, streaming.
Don't go corporate on me, sir.
Listen, Dune, I'm telling you now, it is probably going to be nominated for Best Picture. It's going to be one of those rare sci-fi, operas that's going to be nominated for Best Picture. What's that?
Can we see the movie first?
I'm already predicting an Oscar nomination for it. I'm telling you.
I can't talk Oscars right now. It's fucking September. I'm not talking Oscars.
Listen, I'm not saying that this movie didn't take a hit. Made 18 million, cost 54. This article saying it should make 110 to break even. But if you think about it, Godzilla vs. Kong cost $200 million. It might have made $400 million worldwide. It probably needed to make double that.
I think you are vastly underselling the importance of not bombing on opening weekend.
This is a small movie compared to everything else that they released this year.
It's only the metric we've used to measure the success of films since films began. That's all.
I'm not saying it didn't bomb. I'm saying HBO.
You're saying it's not a big deal.
I'm saying HBO, or I keep saying HBO, even though it's Warner Brothers. I'm saying Warner Brothers said, "Oh, Reminiscence bomb. Okay, fine, whatever." No. We got Dune coming out, and it probably could have made $200 million, but it's going to make nothing.
Too many zeros to just I
don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying this film is too low budget.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Don't do what?
I do understand.
Why are you arguing with me so hard then?
What?
I think you're wrong.
That's fine, but don't say I don't understand, because that's insulting. That implies the only reason I can disagree with you is that I'm stupid.
No, I never said that. And I don't mean that.
That's what that implies.
I don't mean that. Come on.
I hate that phrase, and I would call anybody out on that. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
I do understand what you're saying. I disagree. I think your idea of how Hollywood works and my idea of how Hollywood works are vastly different.
It's what it sounds like right now.
Yeah, and it's probably just because I've watched Glenn Ross too many times. Maybe I just maybe I just distrust humanity to a T.
Wow, I'm just not. Hey, I'm there. I'm with you. I'm just saying that I think this film is too small for them to put that many eggs in the basket for it. Listen. There's so many bigger movies that they're releasing streaming this year that I think they would care more about making money than this one.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they don't care about this one, though. Again,
I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying as far as the scale.
Are.
I'm saying as far. Listen, I'm saying as far as the scale goes, they don't care as much.
The scale. They don't.
Look at everything that they've released this year. This is like on the bottom of the barrel.
That's the point.
This is like, hey, we'd love to go see this movie, but we would really prefer if you went to go see Dune instead.
The movie made less than the prints and advertising. There are repercussions for that level of failure. That's it.
Of course it is. Do you think that they would really want? I mean, listen, when The Matrix comes out in December, don't you think they want that to make a shit ton of money? I'm sure that movie cost a shit ton of money, and it's probably going to make less than the budget. I think they're more concerned about Dune and The Matrix coming out.
Yeah. You keep saying less than the budget. There's a difference between less than the budget and nothing.
Okay. So let's say The Matrix 4 cost $200 million, right?
Uh-huh.
And its opening weekend, it makes $30 million, which would be considered a success by pandemic standards. Pre-pandemic, that movie probably makes $100 million.
It's still money.
Of course it's still money.
Money doesn't... It doesn't matter how more or less money you have, pre-pandemic, pandemic, or post-pandemic. It doesn't matter to people at the top, the people that are actually in charge of the money, that have the money, that own the money. They don't give a shit about that. It doesn't matter. Success is the only thing that matters.
Of course it is.
You're too analytical towards it. It's just a fucking business.
It absolutely is a business, and I just think they care, but not as much for this as everything else this year. because they already made the announcement at the beginning of 2021 or at the end of 2020 saying our entire lineup for 2021 is going to go straight to streaming, and you can go see it in the theater too, but everything, if you get an HBO Max subscription, you can stream this for the cost of your subscription. They're ready to take a loss. You make a statement like that, you're ready to take losses.
What was the number one movie the weekend this film opened?
Not Shang-Chi. August 20th? Probably The Suicide Squad. Let's have a look.
And how much did that make?
Free Guy.
Free
Guy was the number one movie that weekend. It made $5.1 million.
That was the opening film?
No. It was already out for a week. The
second week.
The number two movie was the Paw Patrol movie.
Paw Patrol?
They got beat by the Paw Patrol movie.
Was that opening weekend for the Paw Patrol?
Yes, it was.
Really?
$4.5 million.
All right, I rest my case.
Jungle Cruise, $1.7 million.
How long has that film been out?
That was out for 22 days at that time.
Yeah, I rest my case.
Don't Breathe 2, out for a week, $1.5 million.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing that.
Yes, me too. I like the first one quite a bit. Protege, Respect. Where is it? No, wait. This has got to be wrong. Domestic box office for... Oh, fine. That's not the weekend. That's just how much money that movie made that day. Weekend. Here we go. Now we got it. Still, Free Guy made $18 million. Paw Patrol made $13 million. Jungle Cruise with $6 million. Don't Breathe with $5 million. Respect with $3.7 million.
Respect?
Yeah, that's the Aretha Franklin.
How long has that been out?
That came out beginning of August. Like August 5th, 4th, something like that. The Suicide Squad with $3.4 million. Protege with 2.9, The Night House with 2.8, and then Reminiscence with 1.9.
That was opening weekend, right?
That was its opening weekend.
I rest my case.
Well, to be honest, there's at least 4 other things that above it that I would rather see.
Yeah, but that, again, I'm with you too. That's my point.
And just so we're clear on something as well. When Warner Brothers released the list of everything, like their big name movies, this is what's going streaming, this is what you can look forward to in 2021, Reminiscence was not on that list.
No, they already knew it was going to bomb.
Well, no, I believe it's one of those movies that's just kind of left over. Like maybe it was supposed to come out in 2020, they held it,
January,
or maybe a January. And
it's such a January release.
They just threw it at at some point during the 2021 year. But this movie they had a whole picture: Matrix 4, Godzilla vs Kong, Dune, Many Saints of Newark, like all of these movies. This was not on the list.
At this point, we've talked more about the budget than we have the film.
Wow.
So I want to touch.
I've had more fun talking about the budget.
I know. I want to touch on a couple other things in the film real quick.
Sure.
All the acting was good.
I mean, yeah. I like what's her name? Ferguson. What's her name? Something. The May, the girl that Rebecca Ferguson. I like her. I still haven't seen Dr. Sleep. She plays the villain in there called Rose the Hat.
Me neither. For the same reason, the trailer didn't impress me.
No, but the film is actually supposed to be very good.
Yeah. That's
what I've heard.
I hear a lot of things.
Listen, it's sitting comfortably as a 7.3 on IMDb. That's pretty high.
Care. Don't care.
Pretty high though.
I've seen 9-star films that sucked. I don't care. I wanted to see it. I'll watch it. I'm not saying it's shit. I'm just saying.
No. Listen.
I'm just saying the trailer didn't appeal to me.
I fired you up, I think. Jeez. You're right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but damn it.
We were talking about...
the basic premise from seeing the movie's kind of set up. It's very similar to Stranger Days. It's
Strange
also very
Days.
similar.
Strange
Days. That's the sequel, Stranger Days. It's very similar to Strange Days. It's also very similar to the Minority Report. All these have to do with searching memories for clues or dreams for clues. And so it's very formulaic, and everybody knows that formula, and you know what's going to happen, and you know she wasn't there because she lost her keys. I can't see the technology being that mundane. That mundane. That someone walks in off the street and says, yeah, I'll pay you to do this if you can tell me to find my keys. And they're like, go the fuck home. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Then again, he's given free ones to the homeless guy, so I guess that counts.
He did see her neck massager, though.
Yes. Mm. Yeah, no, there were generally. I mean, he's a very charismatic actor. I think he did have a chemistry with Rebecca Ferguson. I think my inability to grasp the characters just come across the whole brief time span this undying love supposed to occur in.
Right.
The one thing that's really been bugging me since I watched it, I was like laying up, it's bothered me. The pseudo sci-fi is okay because they don't really give you anything to challenge too much. Oh, it records your dreams. Oh, this is a new thing. Apparently, if you're in the subconscious state and you try to think of a memory you don't have, your head explodes.
Well,
so there's that.
After 2 minutes, you brain damage or brain dead. So
I'm sorry. His explanation of he's trying to remember something that he can't remember, and so now he could die. That first part and the second part, there should be something in the middle there. Of why I'm trying to remember his time I didn't. Come on.
We've gone down a path that you haven't explored.
But I was willing to overlook that.
I didn't mind that too much. In a film that's this flawed, I don't want to say it made sense, but it did kind of make sense that Hugh Jackman or whoever is talking to whoever's in the tank, they talk them through the things they want to see. Or it's like there was that night you met so and so, and then that memory comes up.
Right.
So they use that later on in the film where he's trying to find May, and he said, "Yeah, she got away, and you never saw her again." And then he starts convulsing, and he was like, "Oh," he talked him down because you have to do that within a 2-minute time period, or else you get brain damage or brain dead. And then at that moment, he realized, "Wait, you did see her again because." There's no memory of you not seeing her anymore. So, it made sense. It did fit. I didn't hate it. Let's put it that way.
It bothered me, but I was willing to let it go. What bothered me more, though, is how we got there. Is that, so I met this woman, walked into my business. I fell in love with her instantly. 3 months later, she disappeared. So now I've spent months on a binge trying to just depressed over it because I can't go on without this love of my life who I only knew for 3 months. And now, my first job I've really done since then in the police department, where we're going into the memories of a criminal. Oh, look who it is! Come on.
Yeah, I'm not arguing there. Yeah, it definitely is a stretch.
And again, it's a very noir subject matter. The double-crossed woman tracking down. Is it not? Nobody you trust. It's very Cornell Woolrich, just not as well done. But it's also so familiar that it's also boring. And the film is in love with its set pieces. So we're going to spend 5 minutes just watching Hugh Jackman walk around the 3D display, looking. Yeah. Drink it in, ladies.
Drink it in, baby.
This is it. We're gonna hover over Miami multiple times for extended minutes just to show you. See, there's water. I didn't lie.
Water's everywhere.
But the part that is unacceptable is the very end.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Are we going to ruin this? Do we want to just spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert. Yeah. If you don't want to hear the ending of this, then I apologize for you.
So
for caring so much.
So Thandie Newton's character, what was her name? It was
Who?
Emily Watts Sanders.
Watts.
Emily. Hugh Jackman, Nick, he's interrogating Cyrus, or Cliff Curtis's character, and he gets out of him exactly what happens to May.
Right, and we don't have to spoil that part.
No, we don't have to.
Right.
It just,
That's not important to what we're going to do.
but what he does is he goes back to a memory that he has, because he has scars. He goes back to a memory of how he got them, and then he kind of freeze frames him in that memory.
Go back to your deepest, darkest fear.
Yeah.
That moment, the most painful moment of your life. Now you're going to live like that forever. It's like, is it really this unscientific? I can just yell things in the guy's head and he's going to do it?
Yeah, right.
Man.
And the frequency, they mentioned earlier that the frequency, the only frequency you need is 30 hertz or megahertz or whatever it is. I forget the actual.
Then why does the dial go to 100?
Yeah.
Or 200?
But
it was 200.
It goes to 11. I think it goes to 100.
We never turned it over 30.
We don't
Why
have
are
to.
all those other numbers there?
So, but he turns it to like 97 or something like
there
that.
were double zeros. It was a 1 or a 200.
Yeah, and he just turns it and he leaves them there. So he goes over to see.
He burns the memory. So his entire life he'll relive that memory
forever. Yeah. So he goes over to Emily and he tells her, he goes, "Listen, I burned someone on purpose." Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to cut you off real quick because I just want to give small props. The whole idea of having a memory burned into your brain so you're reliving it over and over while you're awake. I like how they showed rich people adapting to that, where they actually built the little memory where it happened so she could actually act it out in real life.
Oh, right.
I give the film a lot of credit for that. I thought that was an interesting set piece. That and like him going to the rich people's houses, that's right out of your typical gumshoe film. Especially if you're going like Chandler, you know.
Oh, right.
But I just want to get that in before you got to the confession part.
So he goes to Emily and he tells her, "Listen, I'm going to tell you the whole thing, and I burned someone on purpose." And she says, "That's worse than the death penalty." I guess in this futuristic time period, if you do that, it's worse than the death penalty.
It's worse than the death penalty.
That's what she said. Those were her words. I don't know. But he said that he worked out a deal because he helped solve a crime, blah, blah, blah. And he tells her, he goes, "Listen, I'm going to tell you everything," because he expects them to scan her instead of her trying to give a confession and it being inaccurate. They're just going to scan her.
Or sounds like what they do now normally. Instead of interrogating, their interrogation is we're just going to look at what you thought, your memories.
So they just put her in a reminiscence machine and just got her his confession from her viewpoint, his face telling the story, and then that's it. Uh-huh. So then that leads up to the ending that you're talking about.
Right, because the deal he negotiated apparently is that instead of doing any jail time or actually being taken to court or anything, you'll just let me go back to where I used to work, and put myself in an endless loop remembering my ex-girlfriend for the love of my life
for the next 40 years,
forever
until I'm dead. Which by the way, at the very end of the film, before the credits roll, it goes black. Did you hear a click noise?
No.
There's a click noise. So when you get in the reminiscence machine, they have this little plastic chip or card that snaps in, makes a click noise. Okay? And when that goes in, you start your reminiscence, where for him, he goes and he lays in the water with the headgear and all that, and they put the machine on there with the clip or the little card, and he's now living that for years and years and years. So before and I'm assuming, I think I'm right with this.
If it's true, it's adding insult to injury.
Well, hold on. What I'm getting at is, and maybe you have a different thought. Before the credits roll, it fades to black. It sits there for maybe 2 seconds, and then you hear a click noise, because it also makes the same click noise when you take the card out when you are done with your reminiscence. I'm assuming, my opinion, is that he is now died. His reminiscence is over.
No.
Credits roll.
No. That the film's a reminiscence. The end of the film, you take the cartridge out. We're done. The whole film's a reminiscence. That's how bad this film is.
I mean, I can go with that too.
I'm saying that's insult to injury because, so as our friendly narrator is explaining this deal he's worked out without explaining any details because he's the most useless narrator ever. We watch Hugh Jackman walk into the place, get into his tank, set up his thing, and then we see him go into his dream state where he's in his end of the loop of all the romantic montage that I had to fast forward through so many times to get forward through this fucking film. Then, so it shows him floating in the tank doing this. We then cut to a future time period where Thandie Newton is now old and gray, and she has a granddaughter with her. So we're taking, 20 years?
Easy.
20 years?
Yeah.
His war journal that he carries around all over the film for no fucking reason. It's a metaphor.
They're trying to give you some substance with that. That doesn't work.
It's still setting the table exactly where we put it with the earring and everything. Not dusty. There's no dust anywhere. She's bringing fresh flowers, but who the fuck's cleaning this place? And he's still in the tank.
Yeah.
He's got like gray stubble. All right, if she's shaving him, why is she shaving him every day? How come he's got stubble? What are you waiting once a month? And who's maintaining this? How is he going to the bathroom? There's no intravenous going into him for food. How come that water is not a black sludge?
And even if you just want to talk about the water itself, the human skin cannot live in water. It being in water alone will start to decay the skin.
Apparently, keeping Hugh Jackman in a temporary suspended or an indefinite suspended state is easier than having a goldfish. What the fuck's up with this? And it just showed at the end. The film's like, we're done. Yeah, no, he stays in there until he's old. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's not good.
Also, another spoiler alert, just in case. Let's mention the fact that we find out that May's dead. Right?
Yes.
All right. We find out when we see the memory from Cyrus Booth, one of the chapter titles. Yeah, they gave the film chapters. Fuck you. What are you, the Snyder Cut? Go home. But so in the memory of Booth, May decides she's like sends a coded message because she knows that Hugh Jackman will find him and read his mind because they've been together for 3 months, and she's to protect the child that she hid, she kills herself by eating 2 fistfuls of the mysterious maca.
Or baka.
They never give any explanation of why this drug is worse than heroin.
No, they just say once you're on it, you never get off of it.
Yeah. I got the same thing with mac and cheese. Give me a little more detail. And you never see like anybody with the after effects of baka. You never like, here's a baka body. And they never go in that much detail. It's just, that's bad. And we didn't want to use heroin because, we got to switch things up now. But we can't actually think, actually decide on what an agriculture is going to look like in a flooded America because that would take real science fiction writing. So instead, we'll just create something called baka. So she takes 2 fistfuls of it and then throws herself off a ledge. So
apparently, it's supposed to be a suicide by drowning because everything is surrounded by water.
What is?
She's apparently drowned herself. She took the baka. May.
She fell off a ledge.
Which I believe landed in water.
No. I'm pretty sure she didn't fall in water. She fell to the ground.
Well, I'm trying to find an ending that mentions the goddamn click, and no one's talking about it. How come I'm the only one that noticed it? What the fuck?
No one else saw the fucking film. It made $2 million. Nobody cares.
I guess.
Normally
no one is talking about the goddamn click.
Yeah. I dabbled with the idea of doing some research on the film. Yeah, nobody's talking about this piece of shit. Nobody watched it. Thankfully, everybody had the same reaction I did when they saw the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trailer, not the $2 million. The trailer.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, when I saw it and I saw the bullet go through the water, I'm like, oh, come on.
I didn't even remember that.
I think when you talked to me about it, I go, is that the one where the bullet goes through the water across his, like, near his face? And you were like, I don't know. I go, I think that's the one with the bullet in the water.
See, I didn't even remember then. No. So, I'm always hungry for like a good noir film, a modern noir.
Sure.
This is not one of them.
No.
And as a sci-fi film, it's a failure too. It's a postcard movie. If you want to see pretty pictures for 2 hours, it won't hurt you.
I don't even think it's that pretty.
It's not bad as much as it's just disappointing and unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Currently, it's rated at 5.9 on IMDb.
So, basically a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'll round up with that. It's above average.
6.
Above average.
What do you think?
I think 6 is okay. I think I'd be okay giving this a 6.
How am I signed out? Oh, come on.
I mean, if you tried to talk me into a 5, I probably wouldn't put up too much of a fight, to be completely honest.
I'm okay with it.
But I think it's a little better than average.
There was effort, and again, the acting was good. You can't blame the actors. They didn't write this shit. But not a fan of Lisa Joy, gotta say.
No, I don't. What else has she done other than just a couple episodes of?
Oh, the other thing she did was, I got to look up now because I forgot it again.
She's from New Jersey.
Oh, Westworld. That's really it. And pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. That's right. You know what? Pushing Daisies was actually a really interesting show. It only lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, Holly made me watch some of the first episodes. She really liked that show too.
It was a very interesting show. It was interesting how it was done too. It was better. It was better than its season total.
Mm-hmm.
It only lasted, I believe, for 3 seasons, and it was a better show than that. But then again, nothing that we like ever really lasts more than 3 seasons. If it makes it more than 3 seasons, we probably aren't watching it.
Her spec script, Reminiscence, was on the blacklist in 2013. All right.
How long has she been married to Jonathan Nolan?
What?
How long has she been married to Jonathan Nolan? 2014? How magically it came off the blacklist.
Yeah,
let's see. It might not say. It just says spouse, Jonathan Nolan to present. It doesn't say when she married him.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. But enough about slandering people's careers. So, I was going to discuss with you what you wanted to review next week, but you brought up *Malignant*, and I think
I did.
And I think one of the main reasons I agree with you on that is because there's so much talk about it. I'm afraid someone's going to ruin it for me before I see it.
I actually talked to my brother-in-law about it a couple of nights ago, and I was like, "Listen, don't tell me anything." I go, "I don't even know what it's about. I haven't watched a trailer or anything." The only thing that he would tell me, that he would tell me that won't give anything away, he goes, it's a very dark movie. Not dark in content, but visual. Like, watch it at night, because if you watch it during the day and your TV, let's say, isn't perfectly calibrated, you might miss some shit because the scenes are so dark. So he said he did mention that. And then he mentions about the film does go in different directions, and I was like, "Don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know anymore."
All I know is I saw glimpses of some posts on social media where I can tell that the horror community is shockingly divided.
Well, color me interested.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently there's a strong anti-malignant force out there. And then there's people who are like, "Hey, dude, it's a fucking film. Relax."
Right.
And so I'm like, "Hey, this might be good."
Yeah, if it's got any kind of stir going on,
pissing people off, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we can do that, And
He says it's very loud too.
Oh, good.
He said there are scenes. He says it's very. I have a very loud sound system, so I might have to watch this when no one's home because I'm just going to get yelled at that it's too loud. I could do headphones. Maybe I'll do that.
You're an adult. Kick him out of the house.
Go somewhere else.
I need a couple hours. Here's $10.
Wow, they'll be back in 15 minutes.
You got the woods out back. Just give him a tent. Three of you. Build that. When you're done, I'll be done with my movie.
There it is. Go out into the woods.
There's a potato and a box knife.
That's it.
I'll pick you up in 3 days.
Yeah, I'll just walk out my back door. You done yet? Okay, come back in.
And we discussed this briefly offline, but I proposed that we start Halloween a little early.
I'm good with that. We're already halfway through September.
I know. What the fuck? And also when we hit Halloween, we hit the actual month of October. We want to kind of treat it like the Oscars this year, whereas we're going to try to review 2 films per episode, but we're going to make one a recent horror film like this year or last year, and make that we haven't seen, and make the other one an older horror film that we have seen. So
or just a horror film we have seen. It doesn't necessarily have to be old, but it's just something we've seen. You know, that works too. Yeah, I'm all for it. I can't wait. I don't watch enough horror movies for Halloween. We always go in saying, let's watch one every couple of days or try and get one every day.
I tried to do one a night.
And it never works. It never works because of our schedule.
I tried one a day last year, and I think I petered out after day 14. I held strong, but I didn't make it the whole distance. This year, I'm going the distance.
Well, it was funny.
I'm trying to do more than one a day.
What was funny is, and I'm going to do it again. Last year, because I never post on social media, I really I don't like it. Not really very active in it, in any of them. I have all of the social medias, just don't really do anything with them. So last year, on October 1st, I posted a movie poster of a Halloween film. I want to say it was The Fly. I think that's how I kicked everything off. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do for this month. I'm going to give you a Halloween movie every day for Halloween, or every day until Halloween. This is what I'm doing. And then Scott took it as, oh, it's on. I'm like, what's on? Because he turned it immediately into a challenge. Who could watch more horror movies? I know you beat me.
Oh, I did beat you.
You did beat me, but I think I ended up watching 9 or 10. I watched 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah, I fell far short of my goal, but I did beat you.
You did beat me.
Yeah.
I never turned it into a contest. That was never my intention. And Scott's like, oh, this is a contest.
Oh, and it is this year, too.
Well, now it has to be, because... Yeah. Unbelievable.
So that's coming.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
You want to wrap up, sir?
We can wrap up. And then Scott and his lovely bride, Holly, will be at my house in October. And, what was that?
You can't see my...
I can't. It's melted into the background. I just see your hand. Yeah. It's empty. Oh, because it's empty. That's why. Because it's clear, so it just dissolves into the background.
It's the saddest part of the night.
Yeah. We will watch some horror movies when they are here. Absolutely, we will.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and end this shit. Yeah, baby. As always, thank you for joining us again for another episode of Moviesucktastic. Go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. Download or listen to the show right from the website. You can go to our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. Everything we post goes there, and we'll be doing the horror movie challenge again starting October 1st. See who can watch more horror movies in the month of October. Scott or myself. You can also go to our iTunes. Just do a search for Moviesucktastic, and all of our episodes come right up there as well. If you want to email us, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, which we will play on the show, no one ever calls us, so we never play anything on the show. But if you feel compelled to call us, I know, sad face, if you feel compelled to call us at 908-514-4470, we will play it. Even if it's about our car's extended warranty, we'll play it. You could also download the podcast app for your Android by going to Moviesucktastic.com moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or just go ahead and download your favorite podcast player from either the Google Store or the Play Store or Apple's their store, and just do a search for us on that app, and we come right up. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
The past doesn't chase us. We wouldn't recognize us.
Yeah? Okay.
The sense the film makes.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.